Hi everyone, I'm Joe.
And I'm Dee.
And together we're Jody.
Welcome to our channel. So today we're talking about love languages. And love languages are so important because before you get married, while you start dating, you ask the person you're dating so many questions, don't you think?
Yeah, but you know what happens a lot of time, you ask a person something and maybe consciously or sometimes unconsciously, they don't always give you the 100% truth, because there's all things about ourselves that we'd like to hide from ourselves, from others.
And some things I would agree with you, but some things we're just not aware of. So we like this test, the love language test. There's a guy who created this, Gary Chapman, and he thinks that there are 5 love languages. And while he thinks that there are 5 love languages, and while we typically use like other couples in the Bible as our guide, we found this test to be pretty spot on.
Yeah. So one thing I like about this test, it's like many other tests. If you answer the questions honestly, you'll get an honest profile of who you are, what makes what things are valuable to you in relationships. So we took this test back when we were dating.
And we took it again on our anniversary.
Yeah, so we thought it would be a good idea to take it again on our anniversary, because one thing I told my wife while we were dating, even though you don't love a person less as you get older and more mature in your relationship, but the way you love changes. The things that are important to you change as time goes in. And like I said, we've only been in this marriage
for
a year in. So we was like, well, let's just do it. It's not like it's been 10 years or anything, but we just thought it would be fun. So I want to share our results with you. I got mine are exactly the same as they were a year ago.
Mine's are a little different.
What about yours has changed?
So the first, I'm going to tell you the 5 different love languages: quality time, receiving gifts, words of affirmation, physical touch, and acts of service. So my order is still this, like the order is always the same, but my 2 highest are still the same, but the last 3 I found are different now that we're actually married versus when we were dating.
And by highest, it means it breaks it down into those 5 categories, and it gives you a percentage based on the questions that you answered, a percentage of how important that is to you. Like, say for instance, quality time is super important. That would be at the top of the list with a percentage, whether it be 40, 50, 30, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So,
and that's one of the reasons why I like this quiz, because we probably all have a degree in which each of these 5 things are important to us, but there are some things that rank higher than others. So it's, to me, very realistic. So number 1, quality time. What percentage did you get, babe?
Quality time, 30%.
Okay.
That was my number 1. That's your number 1 too?
Yes, it's still.
What percentage you got?
27.
27?
Yes,
all?
it's only 3% shorter than yours.
Oh, I ain't gonna lie. Okay.
So quality time, even when we were dating, that's something that stays the same. For Joe and I, quality time is important. Like, we are best friends. We were friends before we even started dating, so we like to be in each other's face and hanging out. So that's of the utmost importance for us.
I will tell you, for us, and we're not saying this works for everyone, but for us, that massive amount of quality time we spent with each other. When I say massive amount, I literally mean from the very first time that I gave her my number, she called me. She called me.
Yes.
We have not spent a day out of each other's presence, whether it be on the phone, through Skype, Duo, in person, out on dates or whatever.
Yeah.
That helped alleviate a lot of the stress and strain of moving in together once we got married, because people would always ask us, "Oh, what kind of surprises have you found out about your mate? Well, not very many, because we knew each other very well. And along with that quality time came, a lot of honesty. We weren't completely honest with each other about who we were, what we liked, what we didn't like. So that quality time for us made the difference in between, first of all, because we moved in together in an entirely different state. My wife is originally from Brooklyn, but her family moved to Georgia. I'm originally from Georgia. And then once we got married, we moved here together to Charlotte. So that can be stressful all by itself. But because we had that quality time, we really got to know each other. That made a huge difference.
Exactly. And I like that it's called quality time, because for us, quality time is not simply just being in the same room as your spouse. It's being present. So looking them in the eye and talking, or if you're watching a movie but being engaged as well. And just Joe and I are on our phones sometimes, but not all the time. Like, not so much where we're just like on our phones, not looking and talking to each other. So quality time. What
was your number 2?
Mine was the same as before. You remember what it was?
Probably receiving gifts. I can't believe receiving gifts is not your number 1.
It is still receiving gifts.
Okay, so what percentage is it now?
20-30.
Okay. But my number 2 is words of affirmation, and that's also at 23%. Words of affirmation, that basically just means you like people to, for me personally, it means I like to be not just randomly complimented, but I like to be complimented for when it's worthy. If I do something for my wife, it means something to me. If she says, "Oh, babe, I appreciate that. That's super nice," or whatever the case may be, or if I do any small thing for her and she takes notice of it, that's important. I just don't like to have my ego stroked.
Oh man, let me tell you guys about something. This is a story time. So I didn't realize words of affirmation was his second one. So so he was already in Charlotte, and I moved on later. I moved to Charlotte later, but we still live in different apartments. So I moved to my apartment. He helps me. My aunt and uncle helped me move to Charlotte. And I didn't realize that I didn't tell him, "Oh, thank you, babe, for helping me move." When I say he was so upset, you didn't say thank you to me, and I don't feel like you appreciated my help. And that's when I realized, okay, so he likes different levels of affirmation that I didn't realize was important to him before. So now I try to be better with words of affirmation. So that's one of the reasons why learning your partner's love language and knowing your love language and them knowing your love language is so important, because you use this information to make your marriage, or if you're dating and you're watching this, your relationship better.
Yeah. So let me tell you a story about gift giving about her. So I had been chasing after her. This was before we were dating. And she wouldn't pay me any attention, barely even spoke to me. But I found out that for some reason my wife has this weird thing that she loves stationery. I don't know why. We'll go in Target and she'll be like, "Oh, I need a new binder." I'm like, "You haven't even opened the last 5
I don't know.
that you bought."
It's just an obsession.
So,
I like planning, that's why, and writing.
So I bought her this leather binder it was very nice, and I had something engraved on it that was personalized for her. And inside it had some stationery, a slot for pens, a slot where you could put just about anything. And I wrote a little note and I put my phone number in it, and that is the moment when she called me. And like I said, we haven't stopped talking ever since. And that was like 4 or 5 years ago. But that one gift set it all off.
Well, receiving gifts is my love language, and I'm one of those people who, when you give me a gift that is perfect for me, it's not just a gift, but it's like, wow, he really knows me. So I was like, wow, he really knows what I like. And it doesn't have to be a big thing, because I don't know if you remember, but he got me these little, I love EOS bombs. I don't even have one right now to show you, but it's like a little, you just put it on, it's a little lip balm. And I loved them, and he brought me a couple of them. I was so excited. He was looking at me like, these little lip things are what you excited about? So for those who like receiving gifts, it's not just about being materialistic. Behind it is the thought that this person really knows me, and it shows by the kind of gift that they give me.
What was your number 3?
Words of affirmation.
Oh, that's surprising. Well, for me, number 3 was physical touch. But actually, it's not number 3 because it's tied with words of affirmation. They're both at 23%. So it's a tie.
So it's the same for you.
Yeah.
That's good. That makes sense though, because based on the situation or circumstance, you want different things. Like different things will show that your spouse loves you.
But when we were dating, my wife would always tell me, "I'm not with holding hands. Get off me. Stop. It's hot. Why are you trying to hug me?" And it's so funny when, the person you think you are, you learn a lot about yourself when you get married and move into your space with your person. And now we are always hugged up. If we're watching a movie or we're just laying around playing a video game or laying around reading our Bible, we're hugged up. We're always on each other. But initially my wife was like, stop, don't touch me, stay at arm's length. I can hear you from over there. And it was frustrating.
For any of you women watching out here, if you're dating and you are not yet married and you believe in no sex before marriage, then you already know physical touch does not need to happen too much. Try to keep yourself together.
Tell me about words of affirmation for you.
So words of affirmation.
What percentage is it?
It's 17%.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not always concerned about necessarily what people say in general. Like most people can say something and I will not really care that much. But when Joe says something, because he's my person, it affects me on another level. So I like when he's supportive, or he's like, "Good job, babe, you did good," or, "Oh yeah, you really working, whatever it is, that I'm doing." Or if it's something that I am new at, and I don't really for example, I'm not that great with technology. I'm only in my 30s, but I'm not that good with technology. He's way better at technology. So when he shows me something and I do good, and he's like, "Good job, babe, you remembered." I'm like, yeah. I don't know. It just gives me a little boost. But when he's like, "I appreciate you," or "I love you," words of affirmation, they're important.
So what's your last, no, we have 2 more. Mm-hmm. Okay, what's your next one?
Physical touch.
Physical touch, that's so sad.
Well, it's like when we were dating, physical touch was last then, so it's improved.
Well, mine is acts of service, and mine's 13%. What's yours?
The physical touch is 17%.
Okay, so acts of service, for me, I think the reason that's low on my totem pole is because it's more important for me to give other people acts of service.
Yeah.
I don't.
I think that's true. You're a generous person.
Yeah, I don't really. When I'm in need, though, I greatly appreciate it. Mm-hmm. I always say your aunt is one of my greatest friends because she came through for me in a serious time of need.
She's just an amazing person in general.
Yeah, she really. It's amazing how she barely knew me, and we were just newly dating. Well, when we had been dating, it had gotten pretty serious at this point. Yeah, it had gotten pretty serious. We knew the path we were going down. Mm-hmm. It was leading to a lifetime relationship. So her aunt, she saw that and she stepped in and she delivered, and there was no questions asked. She was like, "Okay, I'm going to help you out with this. You're going to take this," and that's all there is to it. So acts of service, it is important, but these in our relationship, I think it's other things that for me are more the meat and potatoes of the relationship than acts of service. But they are important and they are definitely appreciated. That's for sure.
But you do acts of service I know that you like for me to cook for you?
Oh, well,
That's a service.
that's an act of love.
And I make his plate too, which I don't mind. So that's an act of service that he likes. Okay, so the last one. What's your last one? What's left? I don't remember for you.
Receiving gifts.
Oh, that makes sense.
Now, receiving gifts.
What percentage?
10%. Very low.
That is not surprising.
I like to give gifts.
Yeah.
I like to give gifts. I give gifts not only to you but also to my friends.
Yes.
I like to.
He's always trying to buy somebody something.
Yeah.
I'm like, babe, we're not rich. We're not Beyonce.
But if I see something, but see, that's the thing about giving gifts. It doesn't always have to be something extravagant. You know what I mean? But if I'm out in Target and I see something that somebody likes, or if I'm in the mall and I see something somebody likes, I'm like, and I can, swing it. I'll snatch it on up. But receiving gifts, I don't know. That's just, it's just not that important to me. I mean, I love gifts, but that's why, I can say you're a great gift giver. The greatest gift you gave me was them Steelers tickets.
Yes, thank you.
But receiving gifts is just not that important to me.
Yeah.
I love gifts now. Especially if it's clothes.
Yeah. So my last one is acts of service.
What percentage?
It's 17. Words of affirmation, physical touch, and acts of service all have the same percentage to me. They all have the same level.
Oh, they are? Let me see.
Yes.
Oh.
They're all 17.
Wow.
Because for different, quality time and receiving gifts are ultimately more important to me. How you show love. These last three are important, but to me they have little nuances throughout our life. When you add those in, are important to me. Acts of service is last because for the most part I like to do things on my own still. Now who's to say later on down the road, we've been married longer than a year, that might change. But I still like doing things sometimes for myself. I still like doing things sometimes by myself. So acts of service is not really a thing, because if I want something done and I want it done a certain way, I'll just do it myself. Yeah. So that I know it's how I want it.
They are very accurate if you are honest, because and you will see it played out in your life. You don't have to take this test and then be like, I'm gonna look for this and that. Just play it out in your natural course of life. You will see how accurate this is. And the reason, Dee and I have both said, why we value them is because getting to know a person for who they are goes a long way into how happy you will be in the future. Because you hear a lot of times people say, you're not the same person you are when we met. You used to do this, you used to do that, But if you get to know that person at the core, that helps you to know what to expect. That helps you to, be more adaptable, because change and adaptability is very important going into a marriage, because you do change a little bit each person of who you are, and not to an extreme where you're putting up a front.
Yeah.
I gotta constantly impress, or I gotta constantly do this. But if you want to be your true authentic self with your mate, I think for us this test was a very important tool, besides us just spending time getting to know each other.
Plus it just keeps certain things in mind, because the reality is, even though you love this person, you are not a carbon copy of them. Mm-hmm. So sometimes what your priorities are and what you value are not necessarily the same. But making someone feel loved, the person who you said vows to, is ultimately very important. So sometimes I have to go out of my way to do certain things, and sometimes he does the same for me. I don't really care about this, but it's important to her, so let me do it. And then sometimes I have to say, I don't really, let me say something to him. Let me change it up for him. For example, words of affirmation. Sometimes I struggle with okay, what do I say that's supportive or encouraging, or that he would receive well. So it's important to think about those kind of things, even if you and your spouse do not have the same percentages of things.
So we were glad to share this with y'all. We won't hold y'all's attention too long.
Yeah.
But we'll leave a link for you so that you can find this test for yourself online. It's very simple, very quick. It takes maybe less than 20 minutes, maybe less than 10 minutes. I can't remember exactly, but it's a very quick test. We hope you enjoy it. So thanks for watching. Y'all have a great day.
See you next time.